Scratching is very common when you have psoriasis. In fact, unless you're actively and consciously preventing yourself from doing so, it is impossible to not scratch. If you were to do any sort of research on psoriasis, you would see that scratching is generally considered bad. Now, we all know what happens when you scratch too much, but what if you don't? Does it actually help psoriasis? That was a question I wanted to figure out myself, so about 2 years ago, I tested it out. For about a week, I forced myself not to scratch or do any descaling. In hindsight, that was just a bad decision. But back then, my psoriasis was really getting to me. It was worsening every day, and I wanted to change things up to see what happens. Anyway, these were my findings. The biggest problem with this was my plaques built up incredibly fast, and coupled with actively preventing scratching or descaling, it eventually became so thick and crusty. I find myself needing to moisturize a lot, multiple times a day. That was to help with the itchiness and dryness. And in the spirit of the experiment, I also did not peel off any parts of the skin that were falling off, which is what I would do usually. And what I found was it eventually became so incredibly uncomfortable. I was very fidgety throughout the week and had no motivation to do anything else outside of recording this experiment. To help me along, I found the following helpful. Cold showers, a lot of them. The cold helps soothe the itch tremendously. Moisturizing was also a big help because it softens the thick plaques and lessens the cracking, the tightness, and just overall discomfort. The action of applying the moisturizer also mimics scratching somewhat. I wore compression clothing quite a bit. I find that it helps me, but might not be for everybody. By the end of the week, I had enough. This short experiment showed me that it is too uncomfortable to continue living like that. My mind is wandering all the time, motivation and energy levels are also at all-time lows. While I don't recommend you excessively scratch away after watching this video, I think it's still necessary to reduce the plaques buildup, because that was my main source of discomfort. As it thickens, it becomes very uncomfortable and also prevents your medicine, if you have any, from reaching the actual skin, which is why I practice descaling like these videos of mine that you see. But that's just what I do. But what about you? Do you also scratch excessively? And have you ever tried not doing it? Let me know down in the comments below.